start with a word of thanks to Professor Casanova for his finely crafted address, and to tell him that I'm going to look up and put down in very clear form his 5-point Helsinki formulation for international law for Europe, and remind my superiors who helped work on that years ago that this is something that still is valid today. Then, second thing, I want to make a confession to you. If you were a little bit puzzled by Bishop Boris's speech, I might be to blame for that. Not that long ago, he was at my house for breakfast, and he said, Excellency, you know, how do things look? What do you see for the future? And I said, do you want a best case scenario? He said, yeah. I said, mine down too. I said, we all wake up one morning, and the Russians and their grad rockets and all of that kind of stuff are gone, and we all roll up our sleeves and begin to put Ukraine back together again. So he's looking for a Mahatma Gandhi or a Martin Luther King or maybe a Nelson Mandela to get the process started here in Ukraine. So more power to Bishop Boris. I hope he succeeds. Evidently, I have more influential power than I think I do sometimes. With regard to what Professor Gullickson said concerning the role of religion and of the churches in these processes of reconciliation and so on and so forth, I couldn't agree more. Because ultimately, as his Beatitude also said, this is where we're at in terms of these kind of things. Peace is not going to come necessarily just through talking. If I had a thought to share, it would be about the centrality, the absolute necessity or ineluctability, if you want to use a fancy word, of an all-out effort to seek reconciliation as a key to resolving both Ukraine's domestic and its international problems. Genuine and lasting peace comes from God, right? Nobody else. And our conforming to His will for the sake of the life of the world. Peace cannot be achieved without first seeking reconciliation and forgiveness for past and present sins against our neighbor. There's still work to be done with Russia, of course. There's work to be done with Poland on the part of Ukraine. We have to start. In these days of Easter, I came across somewhere or another, I think it was in one of the small hours of the breviary, just 2 verses from St. Paul's letter to the Romans. And I'll quote them. For if, while we were enemies, we were reconciled to God through the death of His Son, much more surely, having been reconciled, will we be saved by His life. But more than that, we even boast in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now received reconciliation. It's His gift to us. Christos vos pres.